All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Fore Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We got a lot of golf to talk about with the Waste Management Open just finishing up a few days ago. Full swing on Netflix. Episode 1 dropped today, which is Wednesday. Tiger Woods is coming back next week to the Riviera. So we definitely, and also Super Bowl, results, everything.
Stuff to talk about,
a lot of stuff.
News.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just kick it off because I know this is going to be a big one, but let's kick it off with Full Swing. What an impressive documentary. I mean,
so far so good, man. I am hooked.
Yeah, I am too. I had a pretty busy day of work today, and I literally just had it sitting here in front of me. Just had my headphones plugged in and was just chipping away. It was Netflix did a pretty good job. Now I'm not fully done. I'm up to the Joaquin
Neiman.
What?
Joaquin Neiman.
Neiman. I'm up to his episode right now. I will say I wish that they kind of did a little bit better job of not making like it's the same repetitive tournaments. You know, I mean, I don't know how many times I need to watch Justin Thomas win over and over again at the Players, or no, which tournament?
The Southern Hills, the PGA Championship.
Yeah, the PGA Championship. I don't need to see him win it that many times, but it's like it is really cool to kind of see how some players have talked about like the Live Tour. You know, obviously they really got in deep with Dustin and talking about how like he just sprung it on everyone. Like, yeah, I'm going. You know, of course, I love the camera guy for Brooks Koepka's girlfriend or his wife now, and also with Paulina Gretzky. Like these guys were all over them. They were getting every angle in that they possibly could of those two. And it's like everyone else's girlfriend just maybe gets like a few clips a minute. But they actually gave like
they gave their own episode.
Yeah, they gave Jenna her time, and then they gave Paulina like stage, like, hey, you do your thing.
I thought it was pretty cool just to see. It felt really, what's it like? How do I say this? It felt really normal in the first episode when you had Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas literally just fly out to Southern Hills on a private jet for one round and then fly back home that day. I thought that was just like, they're just like playing cards, making bets. And I'm just like, dude, you're just flying. I don't know, like whether you're in California, Texas, Alabama, Florida, like
they do a good job of covering. They do a good job of covering. Like when you're up there with those top guys, you're living a different type of lifestyle compared to the guys who are really chipping away every weekend. And that's that was the one thing. Like even Morikawa for the U.S. Open, right? It was him, Rahm, and Rory sitting at a table. And he's like, yeah, so you guys are going to go out to the next place and go play a few practice rounds? And they're like, yeah, but, Rory doesn't fly private anymore or whatever, right? And I was like, and then Colin's like, yeah, I may need to hitch a ride with somebody. I'm just thinking like, wow, like literally just book a plane. All right, we're on our way. See you later.
Right. Have you ever seen those commercials? Like Job Book It? And it's like, they like have like, oh yeah, just conveniently, make sure you don't want to book a jet that doesn't come with a ride to pick you up at the airport right away. No, you need to have a jet that picks you up right away. You're going to miss your appointment. And I'm just like, dude, why are they catering to people that are everyday people watching on TV? You think that I can afford this? You think that you could afford that? Just like, oh yeah, put it on my tab, no problem. It's part of the expense report. But freaking insane, man.
It is. I mean, it really shows though, but like you can see the difference. I mean, even Joel, right? Like they were showing Joel, and it's like they were talking about how he just doesn't believe in himself, right? Like he could be a top 30 player, he could change his whole life, but the guy just doesn't see himself being a top 30 player. Like he sees himself being, 70, and he's cool with it. Like he's just like, yeah, it's fine. But you look at like his house, right? You look at kind of the way him and his wife live. Compared to like when they show Brooks, and Brooks lives in this extravagant Jupiter, like right on the beach or right on the water, like it's just crazy. And then they showed like Ian Poulter. Ian Poulter has like glass upstairs, so like when you're walking, you can see as someone's walking across. Like, it's just crazy. I mean,
Right.
it really does give a little, in my opinion, it really does. They did a really, really good job, in my opinion, of capturing just how hard it is to win on the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really great job in capturing the true grind of what these players go through from like a mental standpoint. I think
Oh
every
yeah.
player that they've interviewed talks about the last day when you're going in with like the type of crowd, when you're going in, knowing that like, hey, this could change my life. And they all agree, like, yeah, it's different when you see the crowd coming up, like it's the atmosphere is different. And you as a player, it's like you want to be in the moment of everything, but definitely your goal is to have that cutthroat killer
Mm-hmm.
mentality to just step on it. And I mean, just tip my hat off to Netflix. I'm not done with it yet, but
Yeah.
it's been like the only thing that I can compare it to is like the Formula One show.
Yeah.
It just captures you. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're
Right.
just hooked on it.
Right, and going back to like stepping on throats and things like that, I thought it was really interesting. Again, going back to JT and Jordan Spieth, who've been playing with each other against each other for years and years and years, and yet it's just like Justin Thomas is like, yeah, I want to beat him in every single tournament. I'd love to beat him every single time. And someone's like, would you rather beat Jordan Spieth in every tournament or win every tournament? And he's like, I'd rather win because that means I beat him every single time.
Yeah.
So like, why would I
Yeah.
why would I want anything else? But like there's still you could still be close friends, just like you can turn it on and off once you like any sport. Once you cross those lines, even if you're best friends, but you're going against them in battle, you just you're a different person. Like
Mm-hmm.
you get like that FU mentality, like it's me or nobody. I need to win, do whatever you need to. But off it, you can be friends, and I know it's hard for some people to realize that, but like what's the point of just hating on somebody after that? In between the game, it's like one thing, but like after, it's like it's just too exhausting to do that. And at the end of the day, they're the exact same person as you. They're just not you. They're doing exactly what you're trying to do. They're trying to make a living. You're trying to support their family, trying to be the best that they can be, but they're not you. Just kind of with all that. And I thought that was really cool to kind of see that and the open and honesty about that, where like I said, Justin was just like, I want to beat him every time. I was super jealous because I think Jordan Spieth started before Justin did in the PGA Tour, and Jordan just took off with winning those three majors. That Masters, almost had a second one. Like I think he ran away from his first Masters. He won by like 10 or so shots. And Justin was like, "Yeah, I was happy for him, but I was also super jealous. I wanted to do that." And I feel like Jordan is obviously plateaued to an extent, as in how well he played and how he's been doing now. Obviously, it's unless you're Tiger Woods, you're not going to really keep up that pace. And even Brooks Koepka showed that as well with winning his 4 majors in I think like 2 or 3 years. Like you can have that. What do you call it, like a lightning in a barrel kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Where it's going to happen, but enjoy it while that happens. And even what's his name, Brooks Koepka was like, I would give up all the money that I have made just to have that feeling of winning a major for 1 hour. And I was like, wow, that was powerful. Like,
Well, it's
it's insane.
It is insane, and it's like what I think it was Tony Finau. Tony Finau mentioned something where he's like, when things are going well, like things are really going well, and there's
Mm-hmm.
no stopping you in this field. He's like, you're literally going against 156 best players in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody's playing their best, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, but when you're close to it, like there's no stopping you. There's no stopping you. And Brooks, I know I'm a huge Brooks Koepka fan, and
Yeah.
I would love to see him kind of get back into the swing of things. I saw a post today that someone said, who would you think is the one person that regrets their move to the Live Tour? And Brooks Koepka came out and said like he's having a little buyer's remorse.
Really?
Yeah. So it was pretty funny.
Dang.
Literally, like the minute I finished his episode, I went on Instagram and I saw the post, and I was like, "Wow, look at that!"
I mean, it makes sense with how he was talking about how he'd rather give up all his money just to have the feeling of winning another major. And with how extravagant he lives, you would think that money is a big factor. I mean, who doesn't enjoy money and being, not just successful, but like taken care of, well taken care of, But that does definitely say a lot. And unfortunately, it's not as easy as just like ripping up the check and saying, "I never cashed it," like.
I mean, it is a significant amount of money that you could win in 4 days if you place within like the top 20. You're still bringing home
Mm-hmm.
some cash, but ultimately, yeah, you want to be in that top five if you
Mm-hmm.
really, for some it could be breaking even, but
Right.
actually, I think you're still above what you spent. But ultimately, though, like it's a huge chunk of change you
Mm-hmm.
know for 4 days of golf if you can get four.
Yeah, for
It's
4 days of work, that's great
yeah,
money. But like when you extend it to a week or a month of not winning or a month of not go making a cut, then that really starts dropping and dropping and dropping, and that's where, like, what was it? Kevin Kisner had the best line where one of the, what is it? Interviewers like, "Why do you play if you haven't won a tournament in so long? Why do you keep playing?" He goes, "Well, they pay pretty well for 20th, so that's why I'm here." And it make it that's one thing that's nice about the PGA Tour, that you don't have to win every time to be successful and make enough money to keep on playing and living a good life and having things that you need to be successful. But at the same time, to super ultra competitive people, like almost all PGA Tour players, I'm sure, it's not a good feeling when you're not winning. But only one person out of those 150 people every week is going to win, and it can't be the same person every single time.
yeah. No, you're totally right. I mean, that's what they kept reiterating throughout the whole entire show thus far. So
Yeah.
it's a lot tougher than I think what us amateurs really believe it to be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but to get to that level because of how difficult it is to get a PGA card, how difficult it is to maintain a PGA Tour card, and then all the other things on top of it, being not injured, you know, uh, being able to pay everything. I know the PGA Tour is starting to pay a little bit more people or players. They're covering.
They're definitely putting a lot more money
Mhm.
into it for sure. I mean, we went over the episode like with what the purses are. I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, everybody's at least finishing in first place. You're making at least 1.5 to 2 if you finish in first.
Scotty made over 3 million to get the waste management.
Yeah.
Like,
So, I mean, and last year, like he made 2022. It was only a 1.7 pot that he
mhm.
won. So for him to get three, it's like it hits right on the number 1.5 to 2, depending on how big it is.
Mhm.
But you know, um, like you said, you mentioned Brooke Kep's because luscious lifestyle, and you got to remember too, like these guys, they're there's several different ways in which they're making income for when you're one
Mhm.
of the top players.
Right. Right. Right.
So that's the other thing too. Is like even though Brooks may not be like the dude on the PGA, it's like people still know what he's capable of doing for live, right? So he still has his Strixon contract. He still has his Nike contract. He still has all the other stuff that he's involved with like Manscaped and everything like that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's you know, they Netflix. I tip my hat. That's a
Yeah.
so far this has been a really 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 enjoyable.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, like you said, they're bringing good, interesting, hooking like attention to PGA Tour, where the average person who doesn't watch it on a day-to-day basis because it's slow, because it's quiet, because it's not like the loud roaring traditional NFL, NBA, MLB, soccer, it's not as captivating. But I mean, we'll move right into waste management right now. You turn on the waste management and you look at the 16th hole, and it's exactly what everyone thinks of when they think of a sport. I mean, everyone puts the 16th hole, compares it to the Roman Coliseum, which it basically is. And I feel like, that would just be just an absolute blast to play at that hole with stadium seats. Doesn't matter if they're empty or not. Just the feeling and what the players were having to go through. Because I forget, I don't know if it was like Saturday or Sunday, but while you're there and you're enclosed, you can't feel the wind. You don't know where the wind is until you hit the ball above everything. And, oh, your ball takes off, or, oh, your ball hits a wall. Or if you're second or third in the group, you might have a better chance to actually see what the ball does and see what the wind factor is. But it's one thing that I think also has an effect in the Masters as well, because it's surrounded by so many tall trees and it's hard to kind of pick up the wind there. I thought that was really interesting that you just see some players looking at their caddies like, wait, what the heck just happened? But, I mean, what a tournament. I thought it was just so cool looking at all these videos of people attempting to enter at 5 a.m., like thousands of people. It looked like 1999 Black Friday, right when, Toys R Us opens for the newest toy, and like guys are just sprinting up there, already hammered at 6 a.m., sprinting up to that 16th hole.
That's like a traditional thing now, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's the 16th hole sprint. I didn't know about that. I mean,
it's the only time you'll see golfers sprint in their life, unless you're Joey Coldcutt's running after a wedge that you forgot back on a previous hole.
But no, I mean, the tournament was crazy. I mean, let's talk about the real show. Like, congratulations, Scotty, but let's talk about the real show. That streaker
stole it.
Dude, that streaker stole the whole weekend. The fact that the man runs out onto the 16th hole, drops it down to the floor, and says like 19th hole on his back. Like, this guy was full on committed to everything he was doing. I mean, just to see him being chased by the security guard to then like swerve him and then the security guard eats it. Like, it's bad you. And then he made his way all the way to 17, jumps in the water,
swims in it, does some laps, dude.
Yeah, swims, does his thing. Cops are just like
waiting there.
Whenever you're done, like, we're ready to take you away. We're ready to take you away. But then he gets onto the waste management sign.
Yep.
And you're there just like, yes, I made it, guys. Like, I'm here. Like, I was like,
rocking a mullet. Oh my gosh, man, that was so funny.
To see that on, I don't know where you're watching it, but my dad was watching it on ESPN, and it got cut. Right, but I was watching it on YouTube TV, and it was going the whole time.
No way, I didn't see. I saw it through. I thought, oh man, I pretty much watched it all day, every day on ESPN Plus. Like, started like at 6 or 7 in the morning. Had it on the background, like you said, for work. Pretty much what I did as well. But I didn't see it until people started posting it on like Instagram, Twitter, and I was like, dude, this is hilarious. Like, there's nothing better than a streaker with a freaking mullet and a Speedo. I mean, come on, he's not naked, which is great.
Whiny tighties, because when he got out of the water, like,
it was kind of clear. But I mean, like, a freaking mullet, dude. And then I think he was dancing with one of the flag sticks. He was literally dancing on it like a freaking stripper pole.
Yeah, that was on 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll always encourage somebody to do that as long as it's not me, because I don't think I'll ever want to risk my life, reputation, and everything just for being that guy. But he definitely provided some entertainment that might not have been needed, because there's always a good amount of entertainment from the costumes that were worn at the tournaments. I think I saw like if I saw a lot of repeat videos from last year with like outfits and stuff. So it might have been last year, but I saw some of like a group of presidents' outfits. Yeah. They're decked up as like, George Washington. It's always funny just to see what people do to be that person on TV. Like, look at these guys. Oh, these guys are dressed up in banana outfits. Oh, these guys are dressed up in this and that, just so they can get seen. And the lengths that people will go, because they're standing out there for like 12 hours, before they're actually potentially on TV. So, like, it's ballsy.
Yeah, I mean, but again, too, it's not crazy hot in Arizona during.
Right. No, I'm just saying, like, being uncomfortable in a sense of like you're dressing up in a costume, and you got to leave your apartment or whatever, like at 4 a.m. to get there, or maybe even earlier at like midnight to stay there until 5, maybe sleep in that on the ground. Then, on top of that, then you get to your spot, you're still tired. They don't sell beer till 9 or 7 or whatever the time is. You got to wait for that. You got to go to the bathroom. Like you might have sweat from running to your spot. From all that, wearing all your gear and everything. So there's so much that goes into it. It kind of reminds me of like every time I see the ball drop in New York City, and you see those millions of people, in Times Square. I'm like, they got there like the day before, and they cannot move from their spot. And it's freezing. Like, I would be so uncomfortable. It's totally not worth it for me. It might be worth it as a golf tournament, but it's only a few hours and it's not as bad. Like you said, the weather's not as bad, but like, kudos to them. Cause I would just go in maybe a bright shirt and be like, hey, maybe I'll be on TV or maybe not, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. I mean, I saw somebody showed a picture on Zaire Golf where it was like, they had a shirt that was all the previous like winners or something like that. They had a custom shirt that was like all the previous winners of all the events, and they titled it as like the best shirt of the tournament. There's like two guys who were wearing the same shirt as like all the winners and everything who had ever won it in like the last, I don't know, 10 years or something like that. It was pretty neat. But then, yeah, going to the costumes, like there's like on ESPN, they kept showing the dude with like the chicken suit. They kept showing like the guys that were all wearing the soccer jerseys. They did show the guys who dressed up as the bananas, and then there was somebody else that was dressed up in like I think like a Masters caddy suit.
Yeah,
I saw. Yeah. And
gotcha.
then, of course, they show like the video of where that guy was sitting in like the luxury box on the left side of the 16th hole, and like he's over there like motorboating like just a bunch of women that are coming in, and they're like, "Whoa!"
They showed that. They showed that.
I don't think the camera guy intended to like feel that, but literally it was like on Zaire Golf at the store.
No, I saw that too. But I was like, I thought you said like they showed it on like ESPN. And I'm like, dang, that's a show that they look and make sure that everything's good to go.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
But I mean, like, what do you think of Ricky Fowler with the only hole in one on the 7th? I think it was 7th hole. It's like,
no better guy. No better guy to do it.
Ugh.
No better guy to do it. I mean, could you imagine if he would have done it on 16?
Oh my gosh!
To the tee box, he's got the best chin in golf. Big Dick Rick. Like, could you imagine it? Like that hole was already so crazy. If somebody would have made one on 16, bro, the place would have blown up. They would.
John Rahm was like this close, man. He was this close on that par 3. I was like, oh, that thing just keeps coming and coming. And I think some of the fans still threw out some of their beer cans because I think that was literally the last shot of 16 on Saturday. But yeah, that was a amazing tournament. Love watching it. They have the top players go there every year. And again, like I mentioned to you before we started this episode and we made our picks last week, I totally forgot that Scottie Scheffler won it last year. I do remember the Super Bowl started went while the playoff was going against Patrick Cantlay, and I was on my laptop. I still remember being at my house just on my laptop watching it while the Super Bowl was going, watching the PGA Tour tournament while they were doing the playoff, because I think it was like 2, 3, or 4 holes or something like that. And I think it was Scottie Scheffler's first win too. And it was also, I think, Sahith Theegala's breakout party.
Breakout
round or tournament.
Yeah, tournament. Yeah. And like, I mean, they highlight that on
Full Swing.
On Full Swing. But yeah, I mean, 17 got him. That was the one that was like, oh, he hit such a good ball and it just didn't sit.
Man,
seen that same shot happen. Where I think it was 3 years ago, maybe more, where Ricky, he had the lead. He's coming into into 17, takes an aggressive shot. The ball rolls completely off the back into the water. He has to hit another, and he missed it by 1. And then he comes back the next year and wins it or something like that.
Man.
So, yeah. Golf is a real tough sport.
It's a real mother effer,
Yeah, there you go. Couldn't have said it any better without saying the actual thing.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like I said before, like I tell this to anybody who asks about golf that I know isn't interested in golf, like because I'm interested, they'll ask a couple questions. Like if there's like, I think when we went to the Pro-Am, I had some questions like, how was it? I'm like, yeah, but the tournament that you want to go to, if you're not a golf fan, if you're not into it, if you're ever going to go to a golf tournament just to watch a professional tournament and you're not into it, you got to go to the Waste Management Open. That is the perfect one that you can have fun, get hammered in if you want. You can get loud and crazy. It's the tournament that what's okay. Hold on, let me say this again. It's the perfect tournament for Happy Gilmore. If they were to make another remake of Happy Gilmore, this would be the perfect tournament. He'd be like Ricky Fowler, like telling the crowds to get loud, get loud, get loud when he's going up for pretty much every shot. They'd probably have their little little waving things in the air and going crazy with their beer bongs on the side of the course, having a blast. But I definitely one day want to experience it for sure. Just to say I've been there. And again, you're always going to have some solid weather in Arizona in February. The only downside is it's Super Bowl weekend every single year. But besides that, it should be, it'll be a great, great time. But let's pivot a little bit to a real golf tournament, like Tiger Woods mentioned in his tweet that he's preparing to play in the Riviera down in LA. And I thought that was kind of a shot to the Waste Management. I was like, dang, dude, like they're expecting 1 million people at this tournament. Like, how is this not a real golf tournament? Like, you get like a $3 million purse. Like, I know it's not LA, but I mean, like, come on. Like, what the heck? I mean, now all the hype right as soon as that tournament ended is on Tiger Woods. And I got him on DraftKings right now with my group because he says he feels great. And I'm like, hey, why not? It's Tiger Woods. Why not?
Bubba said it first. Bubba said it first that he thinks that the whole 16th hole is just obnoxious. He doesn't like it. But he kind of grew up. He kind of grew onto it. But I mean, the Waste Management is exactly that. It's a very fun tournament. I think Tiger at this point, in his career, he just wants, I don't even know, man. I just think I'm excited to see him get to Riviera. I'm excited to see him out there. He normally plays pretty good at that course, and if he's feeling solid, I'm excited to watch him. He'll definitely be on my DraftKings for this weekend for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's always that course, in my opinion, it's a very weird layout, but it's a tricky one. I think
it's fairly hilly, right? Very hill, like
it's
a lot
very
of hills.
hilly, but it's like tight. It's narrow. You got to deal with the wind, especially since you're down in the canyon. And they have that hole that has the bunker that's right in the middle of the.
That's the one. Oh my gosh! Yeah, right in the middle of the green.
Yeah, so it's like interesting. Like, okay,
is that like you could probably like legitimately chip off of that? I mean, have to. You can't putt if you're on the other side of that. And you have the bunker in the way of the pin, right? Like, I'm sure people have to chip.
So if they put it like on the Sunday pin where the pin is behind the bunker, like there's like a little ridge, so it does come down, so it falls into the rough, or into the fairway again. So, but it's still just such a delicate shot. I mean, there's a few holes out there that people just go after because it's gettable. 330 par 4 that you can just rip one and get yourself a potential eagle. It's just high risk. It could be either a big reward or a low reward.
Right.
You never know. So, but I'm excited for it. I think Riviera is always a good tournament. Obviously, the Genesis saved Tiger's leg in his accident, so he's probably going to be a big spokesman for it.
Yeah, right. It wasn't amputated. I mean, that whole thing in itself is nuts. But did you see the practice round today that everyone was playing? Everyone was like freezing. Like everyone had like gloves. They said it was freezing outside. I don't know what the weather was there, but I know here it was 28 degrees this morning when I woke up, or like 6 or 7. And I could only imagine it was somewhat similar, even though I'm 3 to 4 hours, north of the LA area. But
yeah, we had some frost up over here too, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, LA doesn't see anything below 65 degrees, so I'm sure I'm sure for it being probably somewhere in like the 40s is like unheard of,
Oh heck yeah,
for LA.
right? Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, you got who you thinking, who you liking this week for Riviera?
I'm still gonna go with Rom as my number one. The guy's just playing solid golf. You
He did
know,
good. He did good in the
he
waste
did really,
management.
yeah. I mean, he did really good at the waste management. I mean, our prediction was almost right that he was, he had a few holes where he just messed up, but other than that, he played lights out for the first, for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
still, I'm gonna put Jordan Spieth as my number two.
Okay.
I'm not going to sign off JT. I think JT is still up there as my number three and
He didn't do
four.
too well, did he? He didn't do too well at waste
He didn't do
management,
too
right?
well, but I don't know. He was talking about how he's trying to change a little something in his swing again. I don't know if it's like a huge drastic thing, but he doesn't like the flare of his elbow or of his elbow anymore, where he kind of takes his hands off of his body. He wants to stay a little more connected, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
But I think that's just him just getting in his head again. But and then my number four, I'm probably just going to go with Tiger. I mean, if Tiger's in the field, you can't write the guy off.
It's hard, man. It ain't easy, that's for sure. I mean, that was only three though, right? You didn't have four. It was just three,
I
right?
had four. I said Roms, Spieth, Thomas, and
Ah.
Tiger.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, winner of it last year, the year before, I forget when. I'm gonna go Max Homa. I feel like he's won there already. He's been playing good golf as well. I think he was pretty frustrated on that bunker shot, fairway bunker that we saw him chuck his golf club at.
Yeah.
But who wouldn't get frustrated if you missing some putts that you can make and you're just having one of those days? The best gets to people sometimes, We're all human at the end of the day. I really like. I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler. I think he's going to start another hot streak. I mean, he literally started this hot streak last year on his trip to number one in the world with the Waste Management Open, and I think he won like 4 tournaments within like 3 months or something insane, or 2 months or something crazy like that. So I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler. I'll let you have Rom. I mean, maybe. I'm always pulling for Will Zalatoris. I love the kid. I honestly don't even know how he did in the Waste Management Open. But for number 4, I'm sticking with you. I'm definitely going to pick Tiger. I want to root for him. I would love for him to get back in the winner's circle, and to win a couple more majors would be amazing. I would love for him to pass Jack Nicklaus, because I feel like personally it's kind of like the Jordan LeBron debate, but we saw Tiger, but we didn't see, Jack Nicklaus. And we'll always have us personally. I mean, I know me personally, I'll probably always think that he was better than, Jack Nicklaus, but, we'll never know for sure. But the only way of really comparing the two is majors. And
you hit a good point there. Like, LeBron has the all-time scoring record. He has it locked down. Statistically, though, he still doesn't even come into the conversation with Michael. People try and position it like, hey, he's the best, but when you look at the absolute dominance that the Bulls and Michael Jordan had every time they were in the playoffs with the team that they had, it is a night and day difference. Now, Jack, obviously, Tiger's still chasing the majors, still trying to chase the wins. But I still think with the way that Tiger has influenced the game, the way that he has inspired the change of the PGA, kind of the way that people are marketed, the way that the aggression in which the game is played, I think that goes a lot further than maybe what Jack, had done. I mean, Jack is a pro of all pros. The guy has the right attitude. He was a people's person, just great. But Tiger was exactly that. Like, you think about a Bengal tiger in the wild, you just don't stand a chance. You're dead. And it lays its eyes on you, you're done. And if it steps on your throat, it's going to keep stepping and putting weight on until it hears your neck crack. And that was Tiger in, for the longest time. The man just
Yeah.
absolutely dominated the game, and no one had ever seen it like that.
Oh my
You
gosh,
know?
man, that was insane. I mean, the crazy thing is, the one record that I think he probably would really want, and I assume is probably eating at him, is the Phil Mickelson being the oldest person to win a major. What was he? 49? How
Oh
old is Phil
yeah.
Mickelson? Whatever that is. I mean, like, I know it's definitely not something that's gonna mean you're a better golfer than, who's better or whatever. But I mean, to have that record, I'm gonna look it up right now, Phil Mickelson age, because he won it in, I think, 2021. 52 right now, so he was 50. He was either 50 or 51 when
Yeah.
he won it. And Tiger's 47 right now, and to think how cool that would be for him to cap off like his last major in his 50s. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know if it's possible, but yeah,
as much as I love Tiger, I don't know. I don't know if that'd be.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Possible for him. I mean,
Right?
the guy has a hard time already moving around the course.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It won't be at the Masters.
He must be in some crazy good shape right now to even think about going and taking on Riviera.
Yeah, with the hills. Right.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe. Again, you just can't write off Tiger. Maybe he shots his ball, right? Comes back, gets his whistle wet, wins the Riviera, and all of a sudden just goes on a tear for the next couple months, and then surprises us all at the Masters again in April. Like, who knows? Golf is that type of game.
It really is.
Game where, like I said earlier, if you're feeling it, there ain't nobody who's going to touch you. There's just
right. And one thing that's crazy is, like, with how much whip and torque Tiger Woods' swing has always put on his body, his knees, his ankles, his back, and on top of that, he was probably one of the biggest workout freaks in the PGA, if not in all of sports, with how much he prepared his body, how much he took care of it, how much he did everything for, and he still had all of these issues. I know some of that is luck, with genes and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like he could not have done anything else more for his body than what he was doing, besides not swing as hard or, have as much torque. And that's the downside of that, because I would assume that back in the day, Jack Nicklaus wasn't swinging as hard as Tiger Woods, hitting it as far. I've heard some people say he was, but they were also using different clubs back then, so we'll truly never know. But I mean, it's just kind of crazy to think that he's not like a John Daly, who just like wins all his tournaments and just drinks beer and smokes cigarettes, all day. And he actually takes care of his body and does everything that he can. But it's still just Father Time always wins in the end, and that's the downside of life.
Yeah, I mean, it'll just be. It will be a very fun tournament to watch. It always is. It always is.
Yeah.
Are we wrong for not including Joaquin since he won last year?
The Genesis?
Yeah. Are we wrong for not including him?
No, because he's playing. He's on Live, dude.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's not even eligible.
Yeah.
Which sucks. So I mean, that's what's crazy. Like, all the Live people, they're just like, poof, okay, you don't even talk about him anymore. I mean, with the crazy run that Dustin Johnson went on when he won that Masters, shot 20 under in November, I think, because of the COVID, and he won the FedEx Cup playoffs. He was just on fire. Gets that big contract with Live. Never really hear from him, which I'm sure I would love.
You haven't heard of any of those players. Like, it's literally impossible to like figure out like where to watch it anymore, like what's going on. You just don't hear about it. And I don't know, do you think that might be something because since the PGA has all the big contracts with all the big broadcasting companies, that could be another reason why the Live just isn't being.
Very possible. Very possible. And to be honest, as not a famous person myself, I would believe if I was famous and, like Dustin Johnson and someone that, is top of the top in golf, where else are you going to be able to sign a 100 million plus contract and get no coverage? How awesome would that be? Like, you're living, you're finally, he's obviously making millions and millions before this, but like you're finally making so much money that like no one's really paying attention to you anymore. You're not under the spotlight of every single person every single day of the week. I mean, I would love that if, you see all these, celebrities, they're just trying to get away. They're trying to get away from, this so they can be treated like a normal person, treated like Justin Thomas walking into Walgreens at the Southern Hills tournament because he's got dang, allergies. Everyone wants to, have their personal space, and be private, have their private life, still have some fun and, with fans. But I mean, I would love that. I think it's kind of crazy that we're not hearing about it, but I think you do bring up a good point that PGA probably said, hey, if you guys follow him or you guys do this, like we're cutting you off.
But you know what? I think that's just so stupid because PGA players are their own CEOs. They're their own company.
Yeah, they're a contractor, private contractor. Yeah.
Yeah, they're private contractors. So who are you as the board of the PGA to say that this private contractor can't work or can't do any work for you, being that this private contractor has brought in X amount of dollars to you? Like,
I agree.
What gives you the right to dictate that? Like
in my opinion, it's little man syndrome, dude. Like it's they finally see someone that has more money than them, that is an actual threat to them, and they're doing whatever they can to cut it off. Which I think it's dumb. I agree.
Even in full swing, they talk about it a little bit. And they talked about how like the Prince of Saudi Arabia, forget what his name is, how he had like that journalist killed. It's like it's completely irrelevant to what the documentary is about. Like it's supposed to be about golf. Like why are you throwing in political stuff? Just to try and throw shade towards the live. I mean, you guys have the upper hand because you have essentially like your great grandfather's trust fund, which is like big you have NBC, ESPN, Disney, all these companies that oh hey the PGA. You guys are great. Like, here, we'll just throw you this money. It's like, because you have daddy's trust fund or grandma's trust fund, like, you guys just think you can say and do whatever you want. But ultimately, like, these are athletes who have worked their asses off to not only represent you as the pros of all pros and following your bylaws, right, as well as following what the PGA rules are as employees and also as professionals, and then you just go and cut the rug from underneath them. It's like people have been talking about that for years,
right?
Like give golfers some incentive, do something more, but
with the money that is there.
I think we talked about this before. It's one of the only sports that's not guaranteed money, right? Unless you have sponsors, which still you only get from what you only get what you earn from your sponsors. So if you're staying on top, like they're going to keep floating you money. They're going to keep doing your stuff. But I don't know, man.
It leaves a bad taste in my mouth for sure. I mean, like the one time out of the history of the PGA Tour that players speak up about not getting paid enough, or there is more money that they could easily be given that the PGA Tour is making, and they finally get a chance to leave for better opportunity for them. The PGA Tour is like, well, screw you, dude. Sorry. Like F you. It's like, okay, well, like I'm looking out for myself here. So, I mean, my family's involved. I want my kids set up for life. I want this set up, I want to be set. Nothing's guaranteed in life, but when someone throws 100, what is that? 7-figure? Is it 7 or 8? No. How is it 7? Like 100 million, like whatever, like million.
That's 6.
No, 6 is 100,000, huh? No.
Yeah, so you're right, 7 figures.
No, that'd be only $1 million. Then be a 9-figure. Someone throws 9-figure income at you, guaranteed. Of course they're gonna take it. Like unless, of course, like you're like a Rory McIlroy, where you don't even that money literally doesn't mean anything to you. I mean, like with like you just mentioned, Joaquin Neiman. He's still getting up there. He hasn't made that much. What's his name? Ian Poulter, I think, was offered like $40 million. He's made like $30 million in winnings in his whole career, in his like 20 years career. But he just got like an offer for $40 million. That's almost more than what he's made in his whole career, and he's at the tail end of his career, why would he not take that? Like that's literally a smart thing to do. It'd be dumb not to. So, I mean, for the PGA to do what they're doing, I think it's ridiculous. I think they're really trying to use that whole murder of that thing to
monopolize.
That's what exactly, 100%, 100%.
Everyone sees it right in front of them, but yet the only person to call him out on it blatantly was Phil.
Exactly.
And then it came down to the whole thing of where, there was rumors that the PGA has like a bonus for someone who was like the most followed, the most liked on Instagram or whatever. And Phil just wanted to get some clips of him playing to like create a montage or do something. And literally like they were asking him for like $2 million to release the videos for it. And he was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's me playing. Like I got you your $2 million just in beer sales and ticket sales. And the fact that I finished as a top 10, like cut me a break here. $2 million for my own video of me playing. Like I might as well just have. I should just have. What did he say? He's like, I should just have somebody walk around and just film me, and then just use it myself.
Yeah.
Not even include your logo. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he has a point. Like you totally should. And that was also one of Greg Norman's biggest issues when he was playing golf too. So it makes sense why he's like the chief executive officer to the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we could definitely talk about that for a while, but really quickly before we end the podcast, we definitely got to talk about the Super Bowl. I feel like it happened a month ago, even though it literally happened as of Wednesday, 3 days ago, technically. It was the first time that I watched Super Bowl without a party for a while. It was literally just my wife, son, and her cousin, and that was it. We were just watching it together, just chilling, talking. What'd you think of the game? Who'd you want to win? Who'd you want to win again? Who'd you go for? I think it was...
I wanted the Eagles to win.
The Eagles, okay.
I lost money on the Eagles, but I wanted the Eagles to win. Hell of a game from both sides. I mean, I don't have a single complaint. I really think that it was one of the only Super Bowls where they kind of really let them go after it. I mean,
yeah, they really did.
Right in the beginning, just some of the rough hits that even like Smith had, on the sideline, I think by number 52 from the Chiefs. I mean, the dude left his feet and flew 4 feet into the sideline. Like, and there wasn't like an unnecessary roughness call. There wasn't anything. They just let it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, even the tackle that Patrick Mahomes had re-hurt his ankle on, he was being pulled from the back and then he got hit from the front. Normally, that's a flag all day. And I was shocked. I was sitting there with Isis, and I was like, wow, they're really letting these guys go at it.
Yeah.
I'll let you go and say your piece. There was one thing that I just didn't really like, but
We'll just say really quickly, hold that for like 2 seconds. One thing that I heard when I listened to Colin Cowherd, he says that once they get to the playoffs, a lot of the times the refs do their best to not call as much. They try to let the players play. The farther you go along in the playoffs, obviously that last play that everyone's pissed at, with how they were calling the game, to me didn't seem consistent based off of what they were calling throughout the game. But it did kind of hold true that they, like you said, they weren't really calling what they had in the past. They were letting them play it out. And he mentioned back in 2001 when Brady won his first Super Bowl against the Rams that the cornerbacks for the Patriots were like dogging the Rams receivers, Torrey Holt, I forget the other, Isaac Bruce, stud wide receivers. And they were like, why am I not getting any penalties? But they were just letting the guys play. And because they weren't calling, they're like, hey, we're just going to keep doing it. And it worked all game. And something that a lot of people don't realize, because usually when new rules come into effect in the new year, the first week or two in, preseason or the regular season, they're called like crazy. People have go insane, like, oh my gosh, the new roughing the passer call is insane. And then by week 8, it's okay because they're not calling it as much. But it was just something that I definitely noticed throughout the game. But sorry, what were you going to say about what really kind of irritated?
I don't want to say irritate. I feel like that would be offensive, but
we're in a safe space here. You're in a safe space here.
Maybe my comment might be offensive, but did you notice how they so obviously the month of February is Black History Month.
Right.
Did you notice how they had a black national anthem before the national anthem?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. I was very surprised. On Twitter, I saw a lot of people frustrated, irritated about that.
Yeah.
The whole song, I don't have anything against the song itself, but how the media portrays it as a black anthem instead of just a song. I think it's about like being free from like slaves and things like that, which the song itself is a great song. But with what the media does, obviously, what they're amazing at is splitting people up, choosing sides. And I heard two sides of that where some African Americans are, like, hey, it's not my anthem. I love the song, but like, it's not an anthem. And the other people that are like, that's our anthem. We don't sit through the other one. And yeah, that's definitely something that when I saw that, I was like, seriously, like, it was.
I feel like because the whole focus of this year for the NFL was like, make a change, right? Or whatever all the shirts would say, make a change or be a difference or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of had a feeling that something like that was going to happen, but it's just disappointing in my opinion. It's like, we're all American. I don't know if it's just a Western civilization thing that literally this is the only side or the only country where that shit flies. But it's like, you don't hear about anywhere else saying, hey, we're going to come up with a new national anthem because we want to please a certain person.
Right.
It's like, it just seems like it's only the Western side where we like please LGBTQ. We please, the black community. We please the Indian community. We please, the native community. It's like, we're all just trying to play essentially devil's advocate to try and make everybody happy. But it's like, what is the representation of the flag? It's all because we're all American.
Yeah, exactly. Together, we're in it together.
We're all in it together.
We all just want to be treated the same, but the media does so well at
And again, I get it. Like, yes, with all of the recent stuff that's been going on, to the black community specifically, with, cops and everything, just I get it. I get it why you're fed up. I get it why, something like this is huge, but also it's just kind of like, we're all American at the end of the day, and that's, sorry about that. And that's, I don't know. I don't know how to like feel about it, because it's just like, is that what we've come to now? Is just, okay, hey, everyone's, again, I don't mean to offend anybody. That's not what it is. I'm just speaking my opinion. And please, if you have something or want to explain, like, write in the comments. We'll be more than happy. We'll even invite you on the show if you want to talk about it, to educate us and help us understand. But I just don't understand why, like, how it's gotten to this now, where everybody just needs to be pleased, or if they're just doing it just to get people to shut up. But then it's like, there's never a change. There's never a change.
Right. No, exactly. It's all talk and no walk. And personally, like I have no issues with learning about other cultures, things that I obviously, I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying, in the sense of that, I feel like it's all just media driven. It's what they do is they split people. That's all that they do. What sells? Division. What sells? People that are frustrated. People that are frustrated will respond more irrationally than people that read something happy, And so that sells a lot more. That gets a lot more views. It gets a lot more clicks. And it's frustrating because it's not what brings us together as not just a nation, but just as a people, like, it just, everyone together they're all equal in my opinion. I'm sure your opinion, but when the media highlights a particular thing, whether it's good or bad, they're trying their best to get a reaction out of people. Yeah. And so I don't know if we talked about this on a podcast or if I just talked to you offline about it, but like, it's all what really irritates me the most about all of these, like, trying to get reactions, is the fake outrage. I don't mind the people who it actually bothers. Like, those are the people I want to listen to and understand what they're going through. But the people that are fake outrage and acting like, oh, this is bothering me. Like, a few like 5-6 years ago, you had someone trying to sue Cracker Barrel because they were offended that Cracker was defaming them or whatever. And I'm like, seriously? There's no way that you as a person are legitimately offended that it's called Cracker Barrel, because it's not about that at all. It's just something that it's, oh, I was that person, you know? Look at me. Look what I did. It's turning so much into that, kind of how, I mean, I don't like bringing this up, but just mass shootings that are going on. They don't want to like make them so amazing or whatever, to like, what do they call it? Like when people want to do it and they want to copycat it. You know what I mean? Like where they make it seem like it's amazing, and they're getting so much notoriety for it, even though they did something really bad, that it'll make someone else want to do it because of all the all the publicity they got from it. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of like what it is. People are doing it for the, like I've said before, the clout, for the clicks. And that's what irritates me. I'm fine if it bothers you. Talk to me. I'd love to understand like where you're coming from. I obviously grew up in a different household as you. You grew up in a different household as me. Everyone learns differently. Everyone has a different set of eyes, a different set of ears, a different upbringing. And I mean, I love learning about that stuff, because it's nice knowing that, we're not all robots that learn the same exact way and everything like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just, again, like I said, I just was, I just didn't know how to feel about it. I just was like, okay, cool.
Right.
Like cool, but is it cool? And then all of a sudden I went to my Twitter, and it was like, people were just outraged. And all of a sudden people were like, how dare you be outraged about this? Like, this is for a community that's been oppressed for 100 years and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm sorry, but you're just preaching the same story. Like, it's the same thing, over and over. And again, it's like, it's kind of like when it's kind of like when you tell some, well, never mind, I'm not going to say that. That's going to be more. But again, I just don't, that was the only thing. But, I will say this much, though. Halftime show, it's pretty great. I thought it was cool.
Right.
And then pregnant,
right. Everyone's watching it. Everyone's thinking it. Is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? And then I was literally thinking while watching that, like, if she's pregnant and all these little white outfits, they kind of look like a little sperm. And I saw someone tweet it. Oh, man. Looks like if she's pregnant, it looks like she's dancing with a lot of sperm. And I'm like, hey, I'm not the only one thinking that. Okay. I literally was just thinking that. That's crazy. But yeah, it wasn't a bad halftime show. My son was dancing. He was having a blast.
She did all of her stuff. And like, what was nice was she didn't do any type of like political, Satan like worshiping type of thing. She didn't do anything like that, And then Issa's just, my wife just told me today that apparently she didn't get paid anything.
You don't get paid during Super Bowl. Not just her. Super Bowl halftime shows, they do not get paid. They assume that for doing a halftime show, the amount of publicity and all that from it, you're fine. Which is insane.
I didn't know that. So that's news to me. But
it wasn't just her. It wasn't just her. But yeah.
So my wife was telling me that she there's a story floating that like she said she didn't want to get paid anything for it. All she wanted to do was just primarily just promote her Fenty brand, right? And that was kind of the whole reason why, like, I guess in the middle of the performance, they took out like her new lip gloss or whatever it was, and like she like put it on, but then the whole clothing thing was like also some of her Fenty stuff. And
okay,
I don't know, I'm not into all that, but that's what
right
told me, and I was like, oh, that's neat. I had no idea because they show like every year they talk about, and maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong, but I'm pretty sure like Beyonce got paid. I'm pretty sure like
hey, I was just gonna say they might get paid, but from what I read somewhere saying that they don't get paid. Again, that could have been just one of those like things that it was completely wrong, but like that's just what I saw, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, from my understanding, I've always heard that they've gotten paid in some way, because like for Beyonce to go out and do her big show that she had, everyone was talking about how she got paid fat for it. Same with like Shakira and J-Lo, right? Which were some of the bigger ones. The Snoop Dogg show, like you're talking about artists that really just don't have anything else to prove anymore. They're just kind of like, hey, we're the shit. Like we go on, we make people go crazy anyways.
Right.
I mean, especially Snoop. Like, what does he promote? Like, the guy streams his Warzone play on Twitch every day now. Like, he doesn't do anything else, So yeah, but to your point, regarding like the school shootings, we send out our best regards to everyone at Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
Wish you all the best. We hope everyone is doing well and is healthy. For those that lost their lives, you are missed and never forgotten. And may you rest in peace.
Yes, it's a shame of all those things that are happening, but I feel like, for right now, good spot to end the podcast for this week. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. If you've made it this far, we do appreciate it. Check us out on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere. I think pretty much anywhere you can get your podcasts, and Instagram and Twitter as well. But
guys, check us out. Check us out on TikTok. Next week, we're going to be doing a What's in the Bag video. I'm going to hopefully be playing some golf tomorrow, and I'll make sure to get some clips of my play, and you guys can see my new dad bogey golf. And,
there we go. And if you haven't seen already, if you've seen any UFOs flying near golf course, it's just Julio with his driver. So don't be worried. Don't worry. It's okay. Yeah. But,
and I'll make sure to reenact Max Homa's throwing his club out of a
Who did it better? We'll do it. Who did it better?
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, though. All right. Have a good one.